Hello everybody, Chicago sports fan here, bringing you another video. This is the Bears breakdown of Week 7. So in my last video, I said hopefully we have good news after the Bears-Rams game. We didn't. How do you only score? Your only touchdown is scored by the defense. And then you score only 3 offensive points in the whole game. You scored those 3 points in the second quarter, and it was your only points offensively the whole game. 3 points. You should be ashamed of 10 points a game. But at least 7 of those 10 points came from the defense. Your offense scored 3 points in that game. And it was Cole Kmet, that game, had a great catch, and that was all you saw from him. He had a great catch against the Panthers. That was all you saw from him. So let's talk a little bit about the defense. So the defense, yes, they missed some tackles. Yes, they got penalized a lot. The penalties have been killing the Bears all season. The Bears have been killed by penalties all season. Akeem Hicks got penalized a lot, and he hurt the Bears the most on offense. I mean, he just had a bad day. He got penalized, I want to say, like 4 or 5 times. He cost the Bears points. But that is to say that none of this game is on the defense. None of this game is the defense's fault. They didn't play the best that they've been playing all season, but they still held the Rams to 24 points. If you can't score at least 20 to 20, like 7 points a game, then that's on you. The defense still put you in a position to win that game. Not to mention, your only touchdown was on defense. There are issues with this Bears offense. There are issues, and they need to be fixed. They need to be fixed. Like I said, sure, the defense missed tackles and got penalized, but that's going to happen. They can't play perfect. But if you want to win, they're going to have to play perfect, but they're human. So they're not going to play perfect. They are going to make mistakes. You can't rely on your defense to win every game. It's not their fault. Every game the Bears lose is on the offense. So far, at least. The defense, I mean, because I don't want to say for the whole season, because maybe the defense plays terrible one game. But as of right now, every game the Bears won was on their defense, and every game the Bears lost was on their offense. This is not good. You're not gonna win a playoff game playing like that, and you're sure as heck not gonna make the Super Bowl playing like that. Their defense is Super Bowl caliber defense. Their offense just has to score 20 points a game, and they'll win almost every game they play. But they didn't. They scored 3 points. The offense scored 3 points. None of this game is the defense's fault. Absolutely zero. Even if the defense played a little better, let's say instead of it being 24-10, let's say it's still 17, they held it 17-10, let's say, you still scored 3 offensive points. So it is none of it is the defense's fault. And you might be wondering, well, how did the defense give up 24 points, which, by the way, is, I would say, every football game, like an average score in football is like 20-something points. And actually, the most common score in football is 20-17. So the defense still had one of their worst games of the season, and they still only gave up 24 points, which is, I would say, a just higher than like your average points per game for all football teams. So even if the defense played better, you scored 3 offensive points. Even the Jets could do better than that, and the Jets are the worst football team in the league. If you're playing worse than the worst team in the football, there's a real issue. There's something wrong. And it has to be fixed. And even if the Bears make trades before the trade deadline, I'm not so sure that they can fix this offense enough. Now, right now, the Bears are the 5 seed, which means they would be playing the NFC East in the first round, and they would win. I have no doubt in mind that the Bears can beat every team in the NFC East. I am a little worried about the Eagles because definitely the Eagles are the best team in that division right now. But they still should win that game. So, what is the issue with the Bears offense? What is the issue? Well, there's a couple things. So, a lot of people are like, "Oh, how are they playing this bad? They have talented players on their offense." Yes, they do. The Bears have talent on their offense, but they're not executing plays, and you only see great plays every so often. The Bears have a talented offense. They have good players. I've seen them make good plays. I know it's in them. I know they can do it. But they haven't been. They haven't been. So, what is the problem? So, well, I'd say there's 3 factors that makes the Bears offense what they are. Because you have talent, you have a running back. I know he hasn't really been playing well. I don't think that's his fault though. This is the Bears' first time in Super Bowl era. They have 4 straight games getting 65 rushing yards or less. First time in Super Bowl era. So the Bears can't establish a run. But why is that? That's not one of the main problems I see in the Bears. But it's a subset of the bigger problem. The bigger problem of why they can't establish a run game is the offensive line. And I think the offensive line is the biggest issue the Bears offense has. So my 3 factors I said, they are the offensive line, the play calling, and the quarterback position. So you can't establish a run game with a terrible offensive line. And the Bears' offensive line is terrible. It is awful. I know they're missing Daniels and they're missing Whitehair, which won't help at all. You can't run the ball. No matter how many times Nagy calls a run game, and I know some people say he should call a run more, but he's not going to call a run more because the offensive line won't create holes for Montgomery to run through. There is no space for him. Nick Foles will make better throws, and he'll have more time to throw if the offensive line just doesn't let the defensive line in. They just let you in. Hello, come on through. Bye. No, if Nick Foles had a second or 2 more on Monday night, there were a couple of throws that Nick Foles could have made that would have been 20-yard gains. But he didn't have that time. And so then number 2, well, hold on, the offensive line. Okay, yeah, so it starts with the offensive line. So if you improve the offensive line, you'll get a better run game, better pass game, more points. It all starts to the offensive line because they create holes for the running back. They stop they stop the defensive line from sacking Nick Foles. So I still think Nick Foles is better than Trubisky. I honestly think the only thing Trubisky does better than Nick Foles is run the football. But I still think that Foles is better. I mean, the running game, Trubisky is clearly better than Nick Foles at running the football. That is without question. But I think Nick Foles is more accurate, and I think he could throw deeper than Trubisky can. But the problem with Foles is he does force throws. When they were at the 10-yard line for the first time that Rams game, which by the way only happened twice, they were only at the 10-yard line twice the whole game. Nick Foles threw an interception, and that was a horrible throw that should have never been made. He should just know to get rid of the ball. Like, just throw it out of bounds if you have to. That was a horrible throw that Nick Foles should have never made. He did it against the Panthers too, when the Bears recovered the fumble, and then the next play Foles threw the interception. It was the same thing. Just throw it out of bounds. But he forces throws. He's got to not do that. And then the last problem is the play calling. So I like Matt Nagy as a coach. I think he's a great head coach, but his play calling is bad. If he has to give up play calling, so be it. He doesn't play to the strengths of his players or the teammates, and it's not necessarily his fault, but he doesn't have the players to run his offense, and he doesn't have the offensive line to develop these plays. So he can't run the plays he wants to run because he doesn't have the players that will let him do that. So you got to switch to play calling and play to the strengths of your players. But long story short, it starts with the offensive line. Let's hope the Bears-Saints game goes better. Bear down.